Fashion is an art form that can set the stage for the art of seduction. It's all around us, as you may have noticed. Rita Braber takes us through a new exhibit that takes us back to another provocative time.
If you think fashion these days, the kind of thing you see in music videos starring the likes of Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, or Janet Jackson, is all about how much skin you can show or how raunchy you can appear.
What?
Well, there's another look that's stealing the stage. Formal, graceful, figure-enhancing shapes. Long, elegant skirts with corset-like tops styled from sumptuous fabrics.
If a woman has on a beautiful, embroidered piece and your waistline is 2 inches smaller and your, décolleté is really beautiful, then I think it's very, very, very sexy.
The creations of designer Maggie Norris have been featured in a slew of magazines, worn by trendsetters like actresses Nicole Kidman and Naomi Watts.
And one like this takes how long to have made?
It would take about 2 weeks, and with about 10 people working on it.
What would a corset like this retail for?
Well, usually they were about $25,000.
$25,000?
Yes.
The price tag is directly related to the workmanship. Norris's creations are one of a kind and custom fitted. She uses flexible plastic or metal pieces rather than the rigid bone that gave shape to corsets of old. But these new numbers are grounded in history, 18th century French history to be exact.
It was very sexy and a decadent period, and all of that kind of translated into making a woman really feel special and beautiful, and very, I would say, dangerous liaison, type person.
I need you to carry out an heroic enterprise.
Dangerous Liaisons. You may remember the film from a few years back. Glenn Close and John Malkovich play bored French aristocrats scheming to seduce Uma Thurman.
I just want you to give me a kiss.
Well, seduction is in the air once again. But this time, it's within the staid confines of the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, where an exhibit called Dangerous Liaisons is now on display. Technically, it's designed to showcase items from the museum's collection of historic French clothing and furniture.
Underneath that, there's also an erotic subtext in which we're trying to create storylines, which are often based on 18th century paintings or illustrations in which men and women use furniture and clothing to seduce each other.
Curator Andrew Bolton is not kidding. The museum has devised scenarios meant to show the sexually charged reality of upper-class life during the period of wretched excess leading up to the French Revolution. Card tables designed to be intimate enough for a little game of footsie, fans used for flirting, and dresses so elaborate that just walking through a doorway was a grab for attention.
It's a case of negotiating your dressed body in a densely interiorited space.
In this room, you might notice the woman having her portrait painted while lounging on a velvet-covered sofa. She's wearing a gown hand-embroidered with the same lattice-type design found on the table, which, by the way, was made for Marie Antoinette. But the real action occurs across the room, where the portrait sitter can clearly observe her husband flirting with her best friend.
Well, he's kind of blatant, don't you think? I mean, right in front of his own wife.
Yeah, he's not being very subtle, is he?
Yeah, really.
Seems that almost any occasion was a prelude to romance.
What's going on here in this tableau?
In this tableau, we have a lady having her hair done and her makeup made, and we have her admirer watching her. The levee was a time in which a lady could invite their suitor to come, and she'd almost perform like a reverse striptease, in which instead of taking her clothes off, she'd be putting her clothes on.
What are parents supposed to tell their children as they take them through this exhibition?
What's been nice about it is that a parent can tell their child whatever they would like, because they can invent their own narratives, because it's not really fixed.
And just hope that the children don't get a hold of your explanations of what are going on in the room.
Don't get too steamy.
But it might be hard to come up with an innocent explanation for the music lesson. A chaperone, momentarily distracted, fails to notice that her young charge is engaged in an intimate encounter with her music instructor. Or how about this scene, set in the showroom of a porcelain merchant? An elderly husband, an American the museum says, because that's where his suit was made, is examining a chest made to store jewelry.
And as he's looking at the jewel casket, the merchant is actually
grabbing his wife.
Making a play for his wife.
Which she seems perfectly fine with.
I think she's the younger French wife, so I think she's thrilled with the attention.
The idea is that lavish clothes and surroundings make us giddy. In this chamber, a waiting room outside one of Louis XV's grand balls, a gorgeously dressed young woman appears to have fainted from excitement. Or maybe her corset was just too tight. Another aristocrat flirts surreptitiously with her valet. All around them, ornate paneling, sensuously styled furniture, like this lacquered writing table.
Do you really think that furnishings, that decor, can be so powerful that it can cause people to succumb?
I certainly wouldn't exclude it. I think we have all been in beautiful places that you really sort of feel not quite yourself.
And says co-curator Danielle Groscheida, there's no question sex sells. In these competitive times, when museums are vying for crowds, this exhibit has been packing them in. And nothing has been more popular than the final scene. Here, form and function really do meet. This daybed, known in French as a sultan, is another piece made for Marie Antoinette, and it has clearly been used for a tryst.
The woman's dress seems to be just a little bit open.
That's right. She is certainly in a certain state of undress.
And what is she holding in her hand?
She is holding a garter in her hand, and
I
think she's about to present it to her lover as a memento of their rendezvous.
I think he's very attractive from the back.
Isn't he? And his hair is slightly disheveled. Yeah, no, I think he's very successful.
And as for the rest of us, well, we may not be able to live as the French aristocracy did, or even to afford Maggie Norris's $25,000 creations. But we can always dream about our own dangerous liaisons.
Why do you think this look is sort of becoming even more popular right now?
I just think that there is a need for dreaming again, you know, for having fantasies and dreams with all the sad things that are happening in the world. If we don't have that, we're lost.